Hi, Scotty Sanders here. Life is like a marathon, or is it? I've heard for many, many years that life, just that metaphor of life is like a marathon, but that's really not been the case for me. I don't know about you, but for me, it's not been this consistent pace that you run. For me, it's been a lot more like a series of sprints. Like you run as hard as you can to get to the finish line, and then you rest a little bit and here you go again. So my life is like a series of sprints. So maybe you can identify with this. What does a life of running sprints really look like? So the first thing is you would definitely train differently, because in a sprint, man, you got to get out of the blocks fast. You got to start quick, get that momentum going, and you definitely want to stretch at the tape. So in a marathon, your start is not that big a deal, but in a sprint, man, you want to get off to a quick start. So that's one thing different. Another one would be, in a sprint, you typically would focus for the finish line. In a marathon, you don't even see the finish line. So it's a little bit different. So a different vision. You kind of know where you're going in a sprint. And the third one, this may be a little bit weird, but I think about in a sprint, for me, how I lead my life and live my life is that I like to reverse engineer. So I know this is the goal we want to get here. So I may reverse engineer and figure out what are the milestones, what are the different things I need to do to make sure that I finish strong. So for me, a sprint, I'm gonna do a little bit more reverse engineering, thinking in reverse, kind of that what Stephen Covey said, keeping the end in mind. So another one would be, you push yourself hard for the entire race. I mean, you start out of the blocks fast and you want to just stretch at the end, but you are just busting it all the way in to finish the race. In a marathon, if you do that, you're not going to run but a couple hundred yards and you're going to be exhausted. So you see what I'm saying? So a sprint, man, it's an all out, all in, as hard as you can go. But then after the sprint, what's so important, you cannot run a marathon in life like you would a sprint. A sprint, you've got to be able to rest, reflect, and recharge, because you got another sprint coming up, right? And so that's important. And sometimes I see people skipping that step and they go from sprint to sprint to sprint, which leads to burnout, less effectiveness. So when you're running a life of sprints, you better make sure that you're resting, you're recharging, you're reflecting to get ready to run the next race. So I hope this has served you today, and I want you to check out my free resource, Finding the 25th Hour Checklist Challenge. I think it'd be a great tool to help you to run your sprint even better. Well, listen, until next time, live well and lead well.